Just to go up there now and enjoy it. Go on.
This is Joan. She works in HR and has the same routine every single day, searching through CVs, answering calls, and searching online for the dream contractor. And after all that, she still has 10 jobs to fill. Well, there's a great solution: Tech Finder. It allows Joan to connect directly with IT contractors for her location, viewing their daily rates and CVs, enabling calls, and signing contracts, and it has saved a fortune. Simply sign up, choose your subscription plan, and you have access to over 50,000 candidates immediately. Join Tech Finder today and connect with thousands of technology contractors.
The choices we make define who we are. Like the decision many of us have made to switch to Toyota Hybrid, to a smooth, more economical drive. Working towards a cleaner, brighter future for ourselves and for our children. Because the world we want to live in should be made better by the car we choose to drive. Toyota, built for a better world.
Worried about your next contract opportunity? Tired of wasting time online searching for the right one? Well, let the opportunities find you. Use TechFinder. It's a free service that connects you directly with companies that match your skills and helps you plan ahead for upcoming contract opportunities. It's easy to use. Simply upload your CV, create your profile, and select when you're available. Take the pain out of searching and be found by thousands of companies globally in your location and at your daily rates in real time. Join TechFinder today. Get connected and be found. Available on all app stores and at techfinder.com.
You think this is fun for me? You think I'm having fun?
It certainly wasn't much fun defending your action in Tokyo. Do you have eyes on the target?
Is it her?
I can't tell from these photos. I need better shots.
Yeah, no, well...
Just don't lose her this time.
Thank you for flying to Istanbul.
You're waiting for someone?
No, just looking.
Good afternoon and welcome to marvellous Malahide Cricket Club in the most resplendent sunshine, the late summer sunshine that we are getting, our Indian summer, for the final match of the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series, and it's going to be the hosts Ireland taking on their old Celtic rivals Scotland. And what's more, it's going to be winner takes all. Whoever wins this match today will lift the trophy this afternoon. It's a Friday afternoon, we've got glorious weather. And about 20 minutes ago, John Kenny was out with the two captains and Kyle Coates wasn't there because we've had a change in captain for Scotland. Richie Barrington coming in just for this afternoon. Gary Wilson out there as well. Let's find out what happened.
It's the final match in the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. What a climax we're going to have today. It's winner take all as Ireland take on Scotland in this, the final game. Still a lovely day here as well. A little bit overcast this morning, but everything is cleared up now. Bit windy, but we should have a fair day's cricket to come shortly. We're joined by the two captains today, Richie Barrington captaining Scotland today and Gary Wilson captaining Ireland. And Jerry Pienaar, our match referee, is with us as well. Gary, you have the coin. Richie to call. Heads to the call.
And a heads it is.
It is a heads. Richie, captain today, what's your decision?
We're going to have a ball first. I think obviously it still looks a pretty good surface. The thinking is hopefully we can restrict them in the first innings, and I think anything's chaseable on this ground.
Nice to come down to a final match, winner take all.
Yeah, should be good fun. Two good teams. We've all had some good performances throughout the series, so hopefully we can finish on a high year.
Sure. Captain today, any changes in the team today?
Yeah, Craig Wallace comes in for Kyle Kutzer and Safian Sharif comes in for Ali Evans.
Okay, well, best of luck today, and hopefully we'll have a decent climax. Gary, if you'd like to step in, what would you have done if you'd won?
We probably would have had a bat, but I don't. Yeah, I think what Richie said there is right. It's a pretty good wicket. I think, as I've said the previous two games, if you play the better cricket, you'll win the game. I think.
Sure. It's nice to come down to a winner take all, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's probably good for the series. Yeah, obviously Holland didn't quite get as many as they would have wanted yesterday against Scotland, but. Yeah, we're travelling pretty nicely, so hopefully we can go well today.
Sure. Played well this week. Any changes to your squad today?
Yeah, Harry Tector picked up a niggle in the last game, so he's missing out, unfortunately. Simi Singh comes in for him, and Shane Gatkett comes back in for Stuart Thompson.
Okay, well, best of luck today. Thanks very much, Gary Wilson there. So, the decision from the middle, from Scotland, having won the toss, is they're going to have a bowl.
So that's the news from the toss. Scotland's stand-in captain for the day, Richie Berrington, he won the toss. He's come in because Kyle Coates has a slight little hand injury. I think he stubbed it in the match, the win over the Netherlands yesterday. They have won the toss and they have chosen to bowl first, perhaps surprisingly, but with the good wickets we've seen this week at Malahide Cricket Club, I suppose they'll be backing their power hitters to chase down a total. Just have the two sides coming out in front of us for the national anthems. Good crowd starting to fill in. It really is the most glorious day. One of the best weeks of the summer, the late summer we've had. We're into September now, 20th of September today. So it's an all Celtic clash, Ireland against Scotland. The winners will take the trophy in this GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. We've had fantastic cricket all week. Every side has won at least a game or two, and every side has lost a match. Time now for the national anthems. We'll start with the Scottish national anthem. That's Flower of Scotland. Flower of Scotland sung by the Scottish side. Time now for Ireland's call. There's the national anthems and some of the formalities. Seeing off handshakes between the ICC match referee and the umpires, wishing them luck. Two standing umpires today, Alan Neil of Ireland and Rizwan Akram of the Netherlands. And quite a few changes to both sides today. I've got John Kenny to my left, and John, the two changes for the Scottish side, that's the Irish side there, but the two changes for the Scottish side really forced because of injury. Kyle Coates with a finger injury, and then Ali Hares, we saw him with that niggle. He only bowled 1.5 overs yesterday, so they've both come out of the side, and in their place in have come Safian Sharif and Craig Wallace.
Yeah, no surprise to see Evans not playing today because he had that shoulder injury. He bowled 1.3 overs in the match yesterday. Kurtzer obviously out injured. Richie Barrington taking his place. From Ireland's point of view, it's good to see Simi Singh get a run. He was called in for Jacob Mulder as a replacement and hasn't seen any action today, so he gets a start in the final game of the series. And Shane Getke is back in as well. Stuart Thompson to drop out, and also Harry Tector as well. We saw him batting extremely well the other day. He made 60 of just 40 deliveries, but he got a whack on the hip during that particular innings. So obviously that injury, I don't want to compound the problem before the World T20 qualifiers. So I'm glad to see Simi Singh get a chance. I mean, you get a player called into a squad as a replacement for another player and not to get a game, I think would have been a bit of a travesty.
Yeah, absolutely. So Simi Singh in for his first start of the Tri-Series, and there's a little bit of an added element to today's game because Scotland and Ireland both not just looking to take the series. Scotland have named their squad for the T20 World Cup qualifier. Ireland haven't. So perhaps a few nervous performers today from some of the Irish guys, maybe right on the edge of selection.
Sure, you can play yourself out of the squad, can't you? You know, if a bad performance today, one or two people might think they're on the edge. You know, maybe Craig Young might think, okay, I've got to bowl well here today to make that final squad. Simi wasn't in the original squad to play this, so he may be thinking I have to try and play myself in as well. So there's all sorts of combinations as well. But the great thing about this Tri-Series, I know we got the match postponed on Sunday, the opening game, Ireland against the Netherlands, but the weather's been set fair all week. It's been absolutely brilliant, and it's great, and it's fitting as well that we get the host country, Ireland and Scotland, this is the points table, playing together for winner take all for this Tri-Nation series. And it has been a replacement really to get match practice in for these players and the Netherlands as well ahead of those World T20 qualifiers with the cancellation of the Euro T20 Slam. And I have to say it's been pretty impressive what we've seen so far. Few crowds in, hopefully we get a few more in today. Looks like there's a few more in today for this final match as well, so it's been a very good week.
It's been a brilliant week, yeah. The batting in particular has shown some outstanding power hitting. You're talking about the points table, there it is for the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. Even though Scotland are on top right now, it's a straight shootout, John, isn't it? Because it's as simple as this. Whoever wins today will take the title. Ireland would move to 10 points and take it. But if Scotland can get the win, they'll move to 12. And even if we do have a tie, John, for those real Badgers out there worried about that, we'll have a super over. So whatever happens today, whether it be Ireland or Scotland, we're going to have a winner of the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. And this opening partnership for Ireland, Paul Stirling continues to miss out with that niggle, so it's going to be Gareth Delaney. And the most capped Irish sportsman in history, not just cricketer, John, Kevin O'Brien.
Yeah, the hero of Bangalore, the maestro of Malahide in that opening test match, Ireland against Pakistan here. Kevin O'Brien scoring a century, and Michael Leask is going to open the bowling from the Malahide Castle end. And Leask, the 28-year-old, with his off break, so we're going to go with spin to start.
Yeah, not the spin of Hamza Tahir, who's opened quite a lot for Scotland this week. It's going to be the right arm off spin of Michael Leask around the wicket.
Oh, Kevin O'Brien pushed up the order in T20 cricket to open with Paul Stirling. We haven't seen Paul Stirling all week, suggesting that he had a niggle and missed out on the first game, and he hasn't been risked this week ahead of those World T20 qualifiers, and that's gone for 6. Well, that certainly got the treatment, and that's a good start from Kevin O'Brien. Just rocked back at his heels, whipped it through the leg side, and Ireland off to a flying start.
What a strike from Kevin O'Brien, but a real gimme, a freebie from Michael Leask. It was a long hop, to be honest. And with the move that we've had in pitches over here, that's the shorter side of the ground. So I'm not exactly sure what the Scottish thinking is here. Bowling a right arm off spinner, turning the ball into the right-handers with that short boundary.
Kevin O'Brien scored 17 against Scotland in that match that Ireland won, the first match between these two, and then 30 against the Netherlands. Kevin O'Brien, the elder statesman of this team now. That's 4 more. Whipped around the corner. 35 years of age now. Kevin O'Brien, next of Gloucestershire, Nottingham, Rangpur Riders, Somerset, Surrey, Trinidad and Tobago, Red Steel. He certainly has been all around the world playing T20 cricket, and he's a man of vast experience at this level of the game.
He absolutely is, and that experience is showing here at the top of the order now for Ireland. His new role in T20 cricket, he only opened for the first time on a regular basis this season. Right now, John, have no idea what Scotland are doing. Leask opening the bowling. That's the second time he's dragged short. Another boundary for O'Brien.
Oh, he'll fancy that one too. And that's gone over the ropes as well. What a start this is from Ireland's point of view. We're just waiting for the umpire at the far end to give the official signal. I think he's giving it now. Yeah, it's 6.
For the third time in the over, Leask drags that one down. There can only be 2 fielders outside the circle. That's the short boundary on the leg side for the right-handers, John. Hamza Tahir turning the ball away from the right-handers. Have done such a good job opening the bowling. I just don't know why they've gone to Leask.
That's a big bat that Kevin O'Brien is yielding out there. End of the first over, 16 runs come from it, and that's a very good start from Ireland's point of view. We were talking, you and I, to Kevin before the game. That's a heavy old bat. 212 we're talking about here. I tell you, it took a lot of holding, all right. Play a bit of Taverners cricket myself, but I certainly wouldn't be able to yield that particular sword. But he certainly has done well in that first over. A couple of big 6s from Kevin O'Brien, and Ireland off to the perfect start here.
You can see him utilising it to tap down the Malahide wicket. 2 pounds 12 ounces. In fact, that's Gareth Delaney's bat there, but the one that Kevin O'Brien has, it has a light pickup, but there is a significant amount of weight. And you looked at the amount of wood in the back of that bat, John, you can see why he can clear the ropes with such ease. I think he's hit probably the biggest 6 of the week for me. It was a short ball, I think, from Ali Evans in the first game against Scotland that went not only over the boundary here, but over the retaining fence, almost onto the 6th green on the pitch and putt club at Malahide.
So opening bowling then from the Dublin Road end. It's going to be this giant of a man, Andrew Neil, 25 years of age, born in the Western Cape in South Africa. Stands at 6'9". Boyd Rankin, 2 inches shorter than him, not playing today for Ireland. So he'd spin at one end. We're going to have pace now to open the bowling at this near end. Neil, and facing for the first time, it's Gareth Delaney.
This is a new role for Gareth Delaney from an Irish context, not from his Leinster club or Leinster Lightning end. He does open the batting for them, but he's really been picked as a leg spinner in this squad. So when Paul Sterling got the niggle in his calf this week, I actually thought we might see Stuart Thompson go up and perform that role at the top of the order with the left-hand, right-hand combination. But Graham Ford must have seen something in Gareth Delaney that he liked, perhaps that 50 he got for the Leinster Lightning against Middlesex earlier in the summer. Shows that he can do it, and it was a great knock to start the week where he made that 50.
That's in the air. There is a fielder down there, but all he can do, McLeod, is watch the ball sail over his head. 1 bounce 4, and it's a very good start from Ireland. They're up to 20 now. Yes, Gareth Delaney made 52 off 27 balls against Scotland. He made 12 against the Netherlands. He hasn't actually taken any wickets so far. That's what he was here for. But now he's suddenly elevated up the order, as you mentioned, and that's a fine shot down the ground. McLeod in on the edge of the circle could do absolutely nothing about that.
Isn't it great being an all-rounder, John? You've got 2 strings to your bow. Yeah, Delaney's leg spin hasn't gone particularly well this week, but his batting has shown quite a lot of X-factor in it.
It's a better ball from Neil. Swing and a miss. We've had some big scores in this particular tournament. Scotland racing past 200 in the opening match against the Netherlands, well beaten in that game by 58 runs. And we used pitch number 7 for the first 4 games, which is to your right hand side. This is pitch 5 we're looking at now. And as Andrew suggested, because we've pushed further to the left-hand side, the boundary then on that side where the big oak tree is actually a shorter boundary now. So it takes a lot of work to clear the ropes on the right-hand side of your screen.
Yeah, and that's why I thought it was so strange that they opened with off-spin turning into that shorter boundary, and they had Adrian Neil come up the hill instead of down the hill. A little bit, maybe some mixed thinking to start the day. He was expensive yesterday, the most expensive of the Scottish bowlers. Adrian Neil 1 for 38 he had against the Netherlands, to go with his 2 for 33 earlier in the week against the Dutch.
Much fuller delivery that time. Nicely worked by Kevin O'Brien. Takes his tally on to 17 now. A bit more wind around today as well. It has been bright sunshine, flags limp for the last couple of days, but there's a bit of wind around as well. This might help the bowlers. Yeah,
certainly the windiest day we've had so far. Perhaps winds have changed. Some of the autumn weather is going to roll into Ireland over the coming days, but for today it's set fair.
Oh, that's a beautiful shot, and that's going to go for the maximum as well, over the tents, straight 6. And Ireland filling their boots early on in this. Scotland at the end of 2. Oh, they're looking down the barrel already. Ireland 28 without loss. And that was a thumping 6 to end the second over, and Ireland 14 runs per over in their first 2 overs. Delaney on 11, O'Brien on 17. That was a huge 6 from Delaney.
Yeah, one of the most beautiful shots of the week, this one. He extended inside out, went straight over the man at mid-off, who could only watch it soar, not only over his head, but also over the head of the hospitality tent, nearly out onto the Dublin Road. What a strike from Gareth Delaney.
Both captains seem to be happy enough the way the toss had gone for them. Scotland winning the toss, deciding to bowl today. Talked to Gary Wilson. He said we probably would have had a bat, but he would say that, wouldn't he?
And that experiment with Michael Leask, John, is only going to last 1 over. No real surprise in that. Safian Sharif is going to come on from the Malahide Castle end. I think that's a good move.
Yeah, I got pace at both ends now. Safi Sharif, a 28-year-old. And that's high in the air from Kevin O'Brien, and there's 2 descending on it, and it drops between them.
Unbelievable.
Oh, that's terrible. That's very poor fielding. The wicketkeeper and McLeod looking at the ball, then looking at each other, and stopped, and neither of them claimed the ball, and that's a let-off.
Yeah, McLeod is absolutely spewing as well. He's thrown the ball back along the ground. He thought that the keeper should have come to get it. He's got the gloves on. It was a real top edge from O'Brien. It ended up landing almost directly in between Cross and McLeod, but neither of them went for it. What a let-off that is. And if there's one person in this Irish lineup you don't want to give a let-off to, and a life to, it's Kevin O'Brien.
We could see the shrug of the shoulders when that ball ballooned in the air. He trotted down the far end. He didn't even look back, Kevin O'Brien. He thought he was gone. Yeah, Craig Wallace behind the stumps. The man with the gloves, McLeod, came towards him. Ball shot straight up in the air, and I think you're right. Craig Wallace was the one that should really have taken that. It's dispatched to the leg side. They're going to think about a second here, but that's good fielding down there. It restricts them to 1.
Yeah, and it's a good spot, John. Craig Wallace has the gloves today, whereas it's Matthew Cross who had the gloves yesterday, who's their regular keeper. And I suppose with Wallace coming back into the side in place of Coates because of that injury, perhaps they think Cross is the stronger outfielder. But I'd have to say Cross is the number 1 gloveman, so you've got to get your man who's best with the gloves on behind the stumps.
Maybe Cross by name, but McLeod was Cross by nature after that one. Nice little punch down the ground from Kevin O'Brien. Got a lifeline. He's got to take advantage of it. He's been batting well so far in this series. 30, 17, and now he's on 19, not out, along with Delaney. But yeah, it's good to see Delaney. Perhaps, obviously, we know what Paul Stirling can do. He's a top-class, top-order batsman. But with Delaney being pushed up the order to open the batting with Kevin O'Brien and getting that 50 in that opening game from his point of view, it's going to be a terrific fill-up to his confidence as he cracks that through the covers. There's a long chase. It's just going to cut it off, and it's Cross who does it, and in tandem with Richie Berrington. Good ball from the boundary from Berrington. Good strong arm. But Ireland taking advantage of that. Nice shot, just pushed through the covers. And Ireland piling on the runs at this stage.
Yeah, perhaps we're seeing why Matthew Cross is in the field. Really good work from him. They get back for 3 runs though. Another nice drive from Delaney. Didn't quite have the legs to get all the way to the rope. I'm just really surprised to see that Cross doesn't have the gloves. I spent half of the discussion with Shane Berger, their head coach, yesterday, eulogising about how good he is.
A long, loud appeal. But Kevin O'Brien was quite a long way down the wicket. A bit leg side as well.
Yeah, I think this one clearly going down the leg side. You can see O'Brien looking to force it to the shorter boundary. It was really only Sharif and the keeper who had any interest in that appeal. Given not out, and rightly so. Yeah, Matthew Cross took that wonderful stumping yesterday as well. Whilst we had Shane Berger in the commentary box with us. One of the best glovemen, certainly the best gloveman in associate cricket, one of the better keepers in the world.
That should be wide down the leg side. Ireland need to press home this advantage, having had this great start. And their loss to the Netherlands the other day, they were 110 for 2 after 10 overs, but they only scored 71 runs in their remaining 10 overs. They got bogged down in the middle. Gary Wilson in particular, the captain's just scoring 8 runs from 13 deliveries, and the momentum just really stalled at that midpoint. And Netherlands went on to win in the last over, timed their reply very, very well indeed. So with these good start on the board in the end of the 3rd over, it's Ireland now on 36 without loss, and a good start from O'Brien and Delaney in tandem there.
Yeah, I think Ireland will be really pleased with this start. Remember that they lost the toss this afternoon and were inserted to bat by the stand-in captain Richie Berrington. And there's a lot of power hitting to come. We've been talking about this Irish batting lineup. You could make a case for almost everyone from number 3 through to number 9. They could bat at any position. And it's going to be interesting to see who does come in. You'd have to think Balbirnie will probably be at 3. But with Harry Tector out, who's going to come in at 4? Will it be Simi Singh? Will it be Lorcan Tucker? Or maybe will Shane Getgate get a chance up the order?
Yeah, well, Lorcan Tucker has opening ODIs and Test as well. So Tucker might come in at 4. But this is a conjecture, obviously, in our point. And maybe Stuart Thompson. No, he's out today. My apologies. Stuart Thompson not playing today. That's the Ireland starting 11 for today at the end of 3 overs. They're 36 without loss. And another change of bowling now from the Dublin Road end. Richie Berrington, the captain, putting himself on. Cries of catch it. And it's going to fall well short of McLeod.
Richie Berrington, the stand-in captain today, deciding that he's the man to go to when his side are under the pump. Ireland off to a flyer, going at 2 runs a ball at the moment. Just 2 men allowed outside the circle in this first 6 overs, John, of the power play. And interesting, they have 2 different fields for the 2 different batsmen, so really specific plans. For O'Brien, long on was back, but for Delaney, long off goes back.
Oh, would have been worked out in the video analysis, all right. It's a game of chess. That's a low full toss, and he just got away with that. McLeod having to do a bit of a chase, and that's gone for 4. Attempted dive, can't cut it off. Safi Sharif attempted dive to cut out the boundary, doesn't work, and 4 more to Ireland's total. They're filling their boots.
Yeah, that one went straight as a die. It was the attempted Yorker from Berrington turned into a low full toss, and even though one hand came off the bat from Delaney, still had enough for 4.
Oh, that's high in the air, and that's gone for the maximum as well. What a terrific shot that is. Well, we've had a couple of shots down the ground from Gareth Delaney. That's another one just to the right-hand side. He certainly hiked that over, and that's gone again for the 4th maximum in this Ireland innings.
What a strike from Gareth Delaney. He's cleared the front leg. We saw him do that in his little cameo against Zimbabwe earlier in the summer, where he was coming in down the order. Gareth Delaney is giving Graham Ford and his Irish backroom staff a hell of a selection problem, because what do you do when Paul Sterling comes back? Is it O'Brien and Sterling and Delaney at 3? Surely you don't want to move Balbirnie from number 3, but isn't it a very nice problem to have?
Absolutely, and it's the reason why we're playing this T20 series as well, is to give Graham Ford and the Irish selectors a bit of a headache. You know, the Irish T20 team has slipped right down the world rankings. They're down to 15. They're 3 below Scotland, who are at number 12. And Ireland's record in T20s, and even in the qualifiers here, which were played in Dublin in the past, Ireland really struggled to qualify. The T20 qualifiers coming up next month in the UAE. Ireland are in with Group B, along with the UAE, Oman, Hong Kong, who are now coached by Trent Johnston, ex of Ireland, Canada, Jersey and Nigeria. Scotland are in with the Netherlands, Papua New Guinea, Namibia, Singapore, Kenya and Bermuda.
Another change in the field, John. Mid-off and mid-on, up in the circle. And the two men in the deep are deep backward square leg and a straight deep mid-wicket. So we're going to see Barrington bowl into the pitch here. He can't go full.
That's in the air, and this should be out. And it is safely caught. And McLeod with a bit of a spooner. First wicket goes at the score at 47. Delaney perishes. And the movement in the field, as he suggested, has certainly worked from Scotland's point of view there.
He's a really clever, canny cricketer, Richie Barrington. He's been around the block. He's Scotland's records cap holder. And he said, this boy Delaney, if I bowl anything full, he's going to pongo me straight down the ground all the way for 6. And what he's done is he's dragged his length back. He's forced Delaney to try and pull it to the longest part of the ground with two men on the fence. And Delaney's fallen for the old campaigner's tricks. Skewed off the top edge. Callum McLeod takes a good running catch coming around to his right at mid-on.
Andy Balbirnie is the new batsman. It's strange to see, actually, during the national anthems, Ireland's call was being played, that Balbirnie actually wasn't in the lineup, so it was obviously getting prepared. Something needed to be done. Last minute running repairs perhaps for Andy Balbirnie. But he's been in good nick here in this series and has been good nick for a very long time. Scored 64 against Scotland, 45 against the Netherlands. Today playing in his 26th T20 international.
Isn't it a lovely platform for him to come in on, though? Even though Delaney has perished and fallen, that run rate currently over 2 a ball, so Balbirnie can come in, play himself in. And what we've seen with Andy Balbirnie's game over recent times, he's added the power hitting, the 6 hitting, particularly with that slog sweep against the spinners. It's a very spin-heavy Scottish attack. Might even see some off-breaks from Callum McLeod yesterday. They were very effective against the Dutch. Balbirnie will be delighted with his start to come in after.
It's greeted with much fuller. In fact, the batsman at cross, so that's Kevin O'Brien, just eases it into the leg side. Balbirnie will now face for the first time as O'Brien moves on to 22. He's got a lifeline in this game. Should have been out with a skyer when McLeod and
surely Kevin
Craig
will
Wallace
say
come together.
Say it wasn't a drop catch.
It certainly wasn't a drop catch, but it was a chance that should have been taken. Balbirnie off the mark, and that's the end of 4 overs. Ireland just shy of the half century at 49 for 1. Four down. Ireland losing the toss. Scotland electing to put Ireland in. 1 wicket to fall. Gareth Delaney for 25, a brisk 25, a couple of cracking sixes in his 25. There's the points table. All counts for naught really at this stage because it's a winner take all, and even if we had a tie at the end of this game, there would be a super over. So Ireland win, they take the series, and same with Scotland. A win for them today would set them up nicely for those T20 qualifiers.
Isn't it nice not to have the net run rate calculations come into play? It's a very simple result today. Either Ireland or Scotland will take this GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. It's winner takes all, and Ireland are the ones off to the flying start despite that loss of Gareth Delaney.
Sharif to continue. Good shot for no runs. That's a good stop by the stand-in captain, Richie Barrington, in for the injured Kyle Kurtzer today. An extra cover. Lovely shot, lovely stop, good cricket all round.
Yeah, Richie Barrington, 32 years of age. It feels like he's been around an awful lot longer than that. This is his 53rd T20I today. So effective with bat and ball. Averaging 27 with the bat. He made 100 against Bangladesh, the first ever Scottish century in this format.
Safi Sharif to continue, and that's been pulled away past the short fine leg by Andy Balbirnie. And that's 4 runs to Ireland's total. Nicely played.
Yeah, the wrong line though, John, from Sharif. strain down the leg side, and it's a significantly shorter boundary on that leg side. I know we've said it a few times, but Scotland just not quite executing their plans correctly so far. They clearly have those plans. You can see the different fields they're setting to the different batsmen. But Sharif off the mark. Hasn't been his finest week so far.
No. He was expensive in the game against the Netherlands. Good stop by Neil. Not for 52 in his 4 overs. 28-year-old. Plays for Derbyshire as a one-day cup and T20 player. He's in his 35th T20 international today. But so far, Sharif has got the treatment in that previous game, although that's not a bad start for him in terms of the way the ball has been dispatched to the boundary in the early part of the Ireland innings. Big appeal, turned down by the umpire, Alan Neil. Maybe a bit high.
Yeah, just see if we can get a replay of that. You can see Alan Neil is signalling leg by, so certainly no bat involved. The keeper and the bowler were convinced, but you think from the shape of O'Brien's shot, perhaps leg side-ish again, maybe height, as you said, John, involved. But they were convinced. They know how big this wicket of Kevin O'Brien is. You can't let him get away from you.
Interesting too there, Balbirnie, while that appeal was going on, decided to call Kevin O'Brien through for a single. That's a lovely shot down the ground. That's the class of the player, Andy Balbirnie, the Dubliner. Just leant into that and past the outstretched hands. The diving Sharif couldn't prevent that from running to the boundary.
Glorious shot from Andy Balbirnie, who says there's no space for class in T20 cricket. We spoke about Balbirnie turning into the Kane Williamson of the Irish side, that linchpin at number 3 across all 3 formats. And what he's developed in recent times, John, is that ability to get to 30 or 40 without you even noticing, and immediately he's into his work. 10 off 5 deliveries.
Just what Ireland needed. Delaney gave them a fast start along with Kevin O'Brien. Now that momentum is continuing with Balbirnie. It's a lovely shot as well. He just leant into that square of the wicket, and it's just going to run for 4 runs. The despairing dive can't cut it off, and that's a terrific shot from Ireland. Andy Balbirnie, Matthew Cross chased it all the way across the field, but he could do nothing about it, rolling over the ropes.
The perfectly straight bat from Andy Balbirnie. He opens up the offside by stepping outside his leg stump, exposes all 3 stumps, but gets a full clean contact on it, and despite the best acrobatic efforts of Matthew Cross in the field, it's 4 more. An expensive over from Sharif, and Ireland, I think they're right on top at the moment. 63 for 1 after 5. John, we were discussing what a par score might be on this pitch. The Dutch were significantly short of a par score with 120 yesterday, but perhaps Ireland looking on track for 200 again.
Yeah, and they should have got it the other day. 63 for 1 off 5 overs. A terrific start from Ireland's point of view. Neil comes on again from the Dublin road end. Yorker length delivery, well dug out by Kevin O'Brien.
Yeah, really good Yorker from Neil. He's been a little bit luckless in his spells, Neil. I suppose when you bowl at a greater pace and the greater height, the trajectory that he comes down from, you can run away for edges behind the stumps, and he's been a little bit unlucky, but he's shown shades of why he's in the squad for Scotland.
That is a magnificent stroke. Toss that ball, boys, back. That's fantastic.
Kevin O'Brien stuck that one onto the temporary pavilion here at Malahide. He stepped outside his leg stump. It was into the slot, really, from Neil. And I believe Kevin O'Brien was on the golf course yesterday at the K Club. That full extension was exactly what he was doing with the driver. That flies all the way for 6.
That's a big bat. 212. And you can hear the thunk from here as he hit that ball, and then it landed on the roof just beside us here to our left-hand side. And they're going to have to go and find that ball. Poor old Andrew Neil with his hands on hips, wondering what he has to do. But that was premeditated, wasn't he? Just stepped away from his stumps, took it off the stumps indeed as well. And what a cracking 6 that was. Quality shot.
What Neil tried to do was follow the batsman. He tried to follow O'Brien, but ended up just putting it directly into his arc. And the length was the key there, because he didn't hit the block hole, because he bowled in what's called the slot. batsman of O'Brien's class with the form he's in. We said he made something like 250 runs in the 5 matches, the inter-squad matches last week that Ireland used as preparation for this series. It's always going to go for 6. The quality of some of the striking we've seen this week, John, it's of the very highest quality, and these are sides that belong on the global stage.
Yeah, Ireland, as we mentioned, have slipped down the T20 rankings. We've concentrated really on the ODIs and also on becoming a test-playing nation with that game against Pakistan last year, and also against Afghanistan in Dehradun in India. Well, as you can see, they've lost the ball. They're probably dispatched into the tennis courts behind us. Nobody in there, maybe. And third umpire, David McLean, having to come onto the pitch to give the 2 on-field umpires, Alan Neil and Rizwan Akram, a new white ball.
Yeah, and what the umpires have to do there is try to find a ball that replicates the similar nature of that 5-over-old ball that it was.
I'd say it's well scuffed at this stage after the amount of 6s we've seen in this Ireland innings so far.
Yeah, look at that run rate, John, already up to nearly 13 and over. You saw this from Scotland in the opening match of the series, game 2. They made 252 against the Netherlands, off to an absolute flyer. Can Ireland keep this momentum going throughout the innings today?
I think they're going to run through for a bye. Nicely called by Andy Balbirnie. Saw the opportunity when the wicketkeeper dropped the ball.
And really well bowled from Neil, because O'Brien did exactly what he did the ball before. He went outside his leg stump, was expecting it full into the slot. And Neil said, I'm not going to do that again. I don't want to go over the pavilion. I'm going to go wide and short outside the off stump. Brilliantly bowled, but let down by his keeper, Craig Wallace. It's a second mistake with the gloves for him. I'm not sure why Matthew Cross doesn't have the mitts on again.
Well, I suppose it is a series designed to give as much time to all the players from the squad in their various different roles. I know there is a tri-series on the line here, but the intention of this series is to build this team up to the World T20 qualifiers next month. Ireland go to a pentangular series, including Oman, Netherlands, Hong Kong and Nepal, but Scotland themselves, having chosen their squad, everybody's here bar Josh Davey, are going straight then to the qualifiers next month. So I suppose that's probably what they're thinking, give everybody a chance, Wallace a chance with the gloves. Well bowled, well run.
Hits the block hole again really well. Scotland are actually going down to South Africa. That's what Shane Berger was saying yesterday. It's no formal matches. They'll play a couple of informal games against the Dolphins franchise, and that'll be good preparation for them, that they feel that he really wants to get them into hot weather conditions to try and replicate what they'll come up against in the UAE for the T20 World Cup qualifier.
Yeah, Ireland obviously seeing it a different way. They want to get more matches in. Scotland have got a settled squad. That's a lovely shot for 4 to end the 6th over. Andy Balbirnie showing the class of the man, the 28-year-old Dubliner. Leans, beautiful shot. Cracked it down the ground. And at the end of that, the 6th over, 76 for 1. Andrew Leonard for the time being, and Garfield Harrison is going to step in. Didn't see you here yesterday, obviously duty calls somewhere else, and good to have you back for this decider. And what a start by Ireland, 76 for 1. Good start between the openers, Kevin O'Brien and Gareth Delaney. Delaney departing for 25, caught McLeod, Bowles Berrington, who's the standing captain today, but Andy Balbirnie, look at that, 19 off 8 deliveries and that cracking shot through the covers in the previous over. And Ireland well set here after 6 overs.
Yes, John, I was back to the real world yesterday of my other job, but Ireland will be absolutely delighted with this start after 6 overs, 76 for 1. Kevin O'Brien looking imperious on 29, although he should be back in the hutch. Don't think I've ever seen that in international cricket, where 2 guys are leaving it to each other and the ball bounces. That's so much time to get in under that. Reminded me a wee bit of Alan Lewis when I played with Louis. He always said yours. and stood back.
Change of bowling, Hamza to here, coming on from the Malahide Road end, and immediately a wide. And they run through for an extra run as well. Tahir, very good with the ball the other day. His best figures in T20 International, 4 for 30 against the Netherlands. 23 years of age now. Barrington shy of the stumps. And hands in head time from Scotland. Tahir actually got his hands in front of the ball as it was heading towards the stumps, and it was a quick single from Ireland's point of view, but Bernie going straight away.
Yeah, we don't want to run out now, I have to say. After such a good start, it would be a real waste of a wicket to run out, but they got in comfortably enough in the end.
Cries of catch it. They won't stop that though. Lovely shot from Kevin O'Brien. He got his lifeline, and now he's starting to plunder this attack as well. Beautiful shot through the covers for 4.
Yes, and he hasn't really got that out of the meat of the bat. It's sort of skewed off the outside edge a wee bit, but the power of the man is immense, and he's just leaned on that. Hasn't hit it out of the middle of the bat, and has still raced away for 4. So he's had a lean time this week, Kevin O'Brien. And today he's obviously keen to make up.
He felt he missed out there. £2 12-inch bat. You didn't have them that size when you were playing.
No. We would need 2 people to lift that bat when I was playing. Yeah, another wide. The thing about John, these bats nowadays, and I mean, there's so much wood in the bats, and if you're lucky enough to see some of these guys' bats, come back to that. If you see these guys' bats, there's so much wood in them, they're really thick, like 2, 3, 4 inches thick, these bats, but they're so light to pick up, and when you're picking them up, they feel like a matchstick. And the reason for that is that the bat manufacturers now, they suck the moisture out of the bats.
Bowled him around his legs too. And that's a big wicket from Scotland's point of view. Balbirnie trying to sweep him round the corner, and he's bowled, and Scotland second wicket. I actually thought it was bowled around his leg, but he took the off stump. Balbirnie will be disappointed. Gone for 20, and Ireland now 85 for 2.
Yeah, that's a bit of a blow to lose Andrew Balbirnie then for just 20 today. He's looking so good, but he's missed this one. Good piece of bowling, I have to say, by Tahir, but you'd be disappointed at that because he swept so well this week, and I said it's a very productive shot for him, but unfortunately today he succumbed to the sweep shot. But getting back to the bats, John, the bat manufacturers now, they suck the moisture out of the bats, so they let them dry and dry and dry, so all the water from the wood comes out of the bats. So that's why they're so much lighter than they were maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago.
You've been doing your research. I did not know that.
Well, it's something that is close to my heart because the bats in my day, they were like an inch thick.
Like a whippet.
Yeah, and you had to throw the kitchen sink at it, and it just got off the square. Yeah,
and especially in the context of T20 cricket, where big hits are required. Gary Wilson now at the crease, the Irish captain, up the order. And immediately off the mark. What Ireland do not need to do now is get bogged down in this middle section of their innings. They've started very well here. And at the end of 7 overs, they're 86 for 2.
Yes. I mean, Gary will be disappointed with his innings the other day. He seemed to get bogged down a wee bit. But he's a very wily campaigner. He's been around a long time. I'm convinced that today, we'll see a more real Gary Wilson, where he uses sweeps and his reverse sweeps and keep the scoreboard ticking over. I mean, to me now at the minute, it's an easy time to bat. All you do now is, Gary, get a single, let Kevin O'Brien on it.
Yeah, the run rate, it's over 12 and over, so it's a good time to come in, as you say. Gary Wilson now in his 66th T20 International. Highest score of 65 not out, averaging nearly 24.
There we go.
That's an intelligent shot, that one. And as if he could hear us, he's obviously thought to himself, I'm not going to get bogged down early in this innings.
The old reverse sweep. And, you know, that's a great shot for Gary. He plays it really well. And, you know, he's backed himself there. For him, because he plays it so well, there's so little risk with that shot. And I think it's not the last time you'll see it today.
Yes, Tom Sole is bowling now from the Dublin Road end. Made his first appearance in this series the other day, and Wilson's going to come back for the second run here, and they're safely home. That's good running as well. Wilson spotted the fielder Michael Leask, who is a very good fielder and got a very good arm, was just a little slow in getting to the ball, and he not quite chanced his arm, but ran through for a very good 2, turning 1 into 2. Sole bowling from that Dublin Road end, just nicely cushioned down to Neil, and Ireland running well between the wickets here.
Yeah, this is great. You know, it's great practice for these guys as well, because they're going to the UAE in a couple of weeks' time, and there'll be a lot of slow bowling there, so they will have to be able to learn how to manoeuvre the ball about like this. So perfect preparation for them, but I don't anticipate Kevin O'Brien manoeuvring it about too much. He'll be looking to clear the ropes.
I was impressed with Sole the other day, the 23-year-old, when he came on. He took 2 for 15 against the Dutch in his first game. Plays for Northamptonshire.
Really beautiful conditions, absolutely perfect. But the big difference today is we've got a strong breeze coming down the ground. And John, that strong breeze, the bowlers, the quick bowlers, they were probably looking to bowl with their wind at their back.
That's 8 down now. Ireland on to 95 for 2.
The breeze is coming down the ground. It's coming from the Malahide Castle end, and a strong breeze. And you've noticed already, John, that all the sixes that have been hit downwind. And these batters are clever enough now that they don't want to be trying to hit sixes into the wind. They'll use the wind and hit down the ground with the wind behind them.
Nicely played by Wilson, down on one leg. Round to the man just behind square on the leg side, and 1 to Ireland's total. Good start from Ireland. Nearly 12 and over. Kevin O'Brien 35 off 23. Gary Wilson joining him with the departure of Andy Balbirnie standing on 10. Tahir bowling nicely as well. Lots of flight to Tahir, and he's got the second wicket to fall to add to his 4 he took the other day against the Netherlands. Lovely shot from Kevin O'Brien.
Shot.
Up and over extra cover, 4 more, and Ireland have reached the 3 figures.
Yes, wee bit of width here for Kevin to enjoy. Frees his arms and hits it. Lovely, really classy timing over extra cover for 4. Beautiful shot.
Kevin O'Brien would be delighted with this new role, won't he? Because for long stretches of his T20 career, he was coming in at number 6s and number 7s, and it certainly is a man who can hit the ball, as we can see there. They're going to perhaps chance Leask's arm. No, they're not. That's a great throw from the boundary just to prevent the second run. But having been now elevated up the order to be the opener, along with Paul Stirling, and obviously in this tournament with Gareth Delaney, it frees him up to play his natural game, perhaps.
Yes, Kevin's just absolutely perfect for this role of opening the baton in the T20 format. He can take his time, he can enjoy the power play in the first 6 overs with only 2 fielders allowed out in the boundaries. It's just perfect role for him.
Wilson didn't know where that ball had gone.
He's done well there, Gary, because I think that was sort of rolling back onto the stumps, and he's noticed that, so he's done well to keep it from knocking the bails off.
Well, as you suggested, perhaps his role now that he's come in and scored those 11 runs now on the board for him, that he rotates the strike as quickly as he possibly can and get Kevin O'Brien on strike, although he's now nicked it at the end of the 9th over. It's 102 for 2.
Yeah, He obviously he's not very good at counting to six, Gary, because, or else he is good at counting to six because he wants to strike. But look, it's a perfect start for Ireland, and still 8 wickets to go, and this should be a really 200 total here now today. A lot will depend on Kevin. The longer he stays there, obviously, the better from an Irish point of view. The Scottish bowlers haven't bowled too badly. Feel a wee bit sorry for Andrew Neil, John, because he's bowling up the hill and into the wind, and he's 6'9", and I'm sure he would have much preferred to bowl from the other end, downwind.
Callum McLeod on to bowl now. That's down the leg side. Good stop by the wicket keeper, Craig Wallace. He's been indifferent with the gloves in this opening at 9.1 overs. And Scotland ringing the changes. They've used 7 bowlers so far. And that's high in the air, and that should go for the maximum, and it has done. That's a lovely shot from Gary Wilson. Well, the other day he just scored 8 runs from 13 deliveries. He's freeing his arms up, and he's moved nicely on to 17.
That's more like the Gary Wilson I know. Super shot, backed himself and straight back over long on for 6. But again, John, downwind. I haven't seen anybody trying to hit 6s to the other end, down into the Malahide Castle end. It's all downwind into the Dublin Road end, which is a sensible approach.
That'll be 1 to the total. And just around the ground as well, it's good to see. There's people coming in to see this final game of the series. Free entry if you're in the area and you want to pop down and see some international cricket, why not do so? And free entry, and a few spectators coming into the ground. Probably the biggest crowd we've seen this week for this T20I GS Holding Tri-Series match, which will decide the tournament.
I mean, these guys now realise that they're in the entertainment business, and they're certainly entertaining the crowd here today and their viewers online as well. And that's what it's all about. And the power hitting here has to be seen to be believed.
Attempted Yorker, plenty of flight from McLeod. That's nicely dealt with by Wilson. He looks in better nick today, Wilson.
Oh, he's had a big think about what happened on Wednesday, and has decided, right, I'm going to take this by the scruff of the neck, and fair play to him, and well done, Gary Wilson. Keep it up. Yeah,
it's the highest score of the series, 13 and 8 so far in those opening 2 matches. The one against Scotland, where Ireland won by 4 wickets, and just 8 against the Netherlands. But he's now on to 19, and Kevin Wilson on 42. And Ireland 113 for 2. They were in a similar position, though, against Netherlands the other day. They were 110 for 2, and they only scored 71 in the remaining 10 overs, so they've got to keep it going here. That's a gimme, really. Might think about the second one here, but Kevin O'Brien slipped at the far end, so they're restricted to 1. Good arm, Michael Leask once again. So that ends the 10th over, and Ireland 114 for 2. Midway point of the Ireland innings. Scotland winning the toss, electing to bowl in this, the final match of the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. Ireland opening with Kevin O'Brien and Gareth Delaney. Delaney, the first man to fall for 25, joined in the hutch by Andy Balbirnie, bowled by Tahir for 20. Gary Wilson joining Kevin O'Brien in the middle. He's moved on to 20. And Kevin O'Brien looking in very good nick out there, although he did get a lifeline when he skied one, and McLeod and the wicketkeeper Wallace decided that neither of them was going to go for the ball, and they got away with it certainly there. So Ireland in a very good nick after 10 overs, 114 for 2.
Yes, it's a keeper's catch all day long. That he has the gloves on, he has to make the effort to get under that one.
Tom Sole has switched ends. That just flicked around the corner to short fine leg, but Kevin O'Brien quickly through, calls his captain to the far end.
Yeah, I mean the Scottish slow bowlers now. He's pushing it through again. You know, he's not giving any error at all, and it'd be interesting to see what length he bowls to Kevin O'Brien, because if he does pitch it up a wee bit, I would anticipate that it'll disappear over those side screens back at the Malahide Castle end. Yes, he's just a wee bit short of a length there, which is a pretty good length to Kevin, and he's not allowing him to go for the big 6 shot.
Ooh, Chrysler catch it, and that fell short of Barrington, the standing captain today. Don't know if it quite carried, but it may have done.
No, I think it's just short of him, and he's done quite well there actually in the end, because he saved his team 3 runs, because it was hit very, very hard.
Sol has been impressive in the last match and today as well. This time Wilson just comes down the track. I think they're going to come through for the second one here. Should easily make their ground. Kevin O'Brien calls him through, and a good 2 as well. Nicely played into the gap there. 2 to the Ireland tally.
Yeah, very clever piece of batting from Gary Wilson there, into the gap, calling 2 all the time. Not sure Kevin enjoys running 2s behind you, John.
And the 2 30-year-olds working in tandem here. Nicely stopped off his own bowling by Sol to end the 11th over. And Ireland 118 for 2. 9 to go. And they should be looking to push that target past 200.
Yeah, and it's interesting again. The slow bowlers here are not really spinning the ball at all. They're bowling. They're pushing it through, trying to bowl sort of back of a length to stop the Irish batters from going for the big 6 hits, and it's working okay. But they need a wicket now. If you're a Scottish supporter now, or in the Scottish team, you'll be looking for a wicket any time now. So we've got a bit of leg spin on now by the look of it. So perhaps that'll open things up for Scotland. But he's bowling into the wind, John, and he'll have to be careful.
Leask opened the bowling for Scotland, so he's going to come back on at this near end, the Dublin Road end, for this, the start of the 12th over. Tom Sol, previous bowler, good figures so far, 0 for 12. He's been pushing the ball through quite quickly, hasn't he? And just trying to make sure that Kevin O'Brien, as you say, is not able to open up those levers.
Absolutely, firing it through.
And that seems to be Wilson's tactics. He doesn't want to get caught in his crease, so he's advancing down the track all the time. It's a good shot for just a single.
Great shot for a single, but he's putting the pressure on the bowler. Bowler knows that he has to be at his very best to keep it down to a single.
That should go all the way, and has done, down on one knee. Kevin O'Brien, no second bidding there. Straight over the 2 fielders' heads.
Johnny hasn't got that right. He's got that off the bottom of the bat.
And such is the power. Such is the power.
He's still going comfortably for 6. So yeah, we'll have to have a look at Kevin O'Brien's bat at the end of this.
I actually had it in my hands. That's his 50 off 31 deliveries. Kevin O'Brien building a good platform for Ireland here.
He'll be delighted now, because it's been a quiet week for Kevin so far. Maybe a wee bit of golf yesterday, getting through the small ball has helped.
It's going to fall short of the fielder out there. Didn't quite time that, and no ball called. So they're going to get a free hit as well.
That's all your Christmases come at once now when the umpire calls a no ball and you're at the striker's end.
And they can't change the field, of course.
No.
Same batsman facing.
Gary will be looking for a maximum here. You know, anything less than a maximum, he maybe be a wee bit disappointed.
Leask has been very expensive in his 1.3 over so far. 26 hit off him. That's gone straight through his legs. We'll just trot through for the single.
Well, listen, it's well bowled by Liss, because he's bowled it very full or almost a Yorker. Hard to hit those for 6. Well bowled.
Who'd be a bowler in a T20 international these days, the way you're being hit around the ground? Nicely done by O'Brien.
Yeah, he's not giving the ball any error at all here, Michael Lisk. He's bowling short of a length, firing it through, no spin, because he's bowling too fast for the ball to grip into the pitch, so it's just skidding through nicely.
Good stop. Good fielding. Good running. Good cricket all round. That ends the over. 131 for 2. The platform has been set for Ireland. 8 overs to go now, having been put into bat today by the standing captain Richie Barrington in the absence of Kyle Kurtzer, who is not playing today. Kevin O'Brien, the opener, 52 off 33 deliveries. Gary Wilson batted well now for his 25 off 20. And Ireland need to push on now with wickets in hand and get towards that 200 mark. That's just chipped over the bowler's head. Nicely done from Wilson for a single.
Yeah. I mean, they Scotland have all their field placed in front of the wicket, and it might be an idea for Gary to think about scoring behind square and just using the pace that the slow bowlers are bowling at, trying to split the field, because there's 4 runs all day long behind the square.
Yeah, and it's a shorter boundary as well, Garfield, having moved over yesterday and also today to pitch number 5, so it's a shorter boundary now from when Wilson's bowling on that leg side.
Absolutely, and if the bowler drops it anyway short at all, he'll be fetching it from over at that tree in Malahide.
Played on the up by Kevin O'Brien, but there's nobody there. Safe shot and into extra cover.
Yeah, listen, they've quietened the run rate here the last probably 2 overs. Tahir's very canny bowler.
Good stop by Barrington, although it was hammered straight at him. Got his body and his hands behind it nicely.
Yeah, that's where all the fielders are, in front of the batter.
Wilson sweeps it around the corner. There's a fielder down there, but that's not great fielding. That's a run between his legs. And surprisingly, it's George Munsey, who was a good fielder down there, the opener. Well, that's a bit of a gift from Ireland's point of view.
Yeah, great shot from Gary Wilson. Hit hard, backward of square. Super piece of cricket.
But not great fielding.
Not at all.
Wilson up to 30. This is good stuff from Gary Wilson.
He looks a different player today, John, doesn't he, from the game on Wednesday? And he's obviously had a long, hard think about the way to play here in this format. It's a power game. You've got to be hitting boundaries here, and that's what Gary has done today. And listen, fair play to him, and he's leading from the front, and that's what you want from your captain.
Yeah, you don't become a bad player overnight, and Gary Wilson certainly isn't that. 33-year-old from Dundonald, ex-Surrey in Derbyshire. Adrian Neal now is going to come back on again at the Dublin Road end. Giant of a man, 6'9".
Adrian must have had a bit of a fallout with his captain, because he's drawn the short straw, bowling up the hill and into the wind. Maybe the captain's trying to put him under a bit of pressure. He's certainly doing that.
Oh, it's chipped in the air. Should be. The bowlers. Well, that's what can happen when you're 6'9". You're able to climb and cling onto it. And Kevin O'Brien, in fact, it's Gary Wilson, I think, who's perished.
Yeah, Gary has perished. Good length again from Adrian Neal. A very good length there. He's banged it in a wee bit short, back of a length. And Gary has tried to chip it over the bowler's head, but it's hit the top of the bat. It's hit it on the splice where there's no wood on the splice. And as you say, John, 6'9" and long arms. He's, any other player on the pitch couldn't have probably have got that one. So a wee bit unlucky there for Gary, but still great innings for Gary. Sets Ireland up for a lovely assault over the last 7 overs here now.
Yeah, a partnership of 53 between himself and Kevin O'Brien. Useful runs from Ireland, and Wilson scored most of those, scoring 31. So it's a good knock from the captain. Nice little cameo from him, and now the big hitting Mark Adair comes to the crease to join Kevin O'Brien. Expect fireworks now as Adair comes to the crease.
Yes, John, another man who's had a fairly quiet week in this tournament, and he'll be looking to improve on his performances then. And for me, this is a good time for Mark Adair to come in, because it gives him a couple of balls to have a look at it. You're not able really to play yourself in this format, but you need a couple of balls just to get the feel of it and get the ball onto the bat. And after 4 or 5 balls, then you should be in this format.
That's well bowled. Pushed that by Adair. Straight into the wicketkeeper's gloves.
Yeah, it's good pace from Adrian Neil into that wind now and again, but it's the length that he's bowling there. That's just a perfect length. It's not up and it's not short. It's just on a very good length, sort of on hitting the top of off stump length. That's can't be beaten, that length.
That's his first run. We will be joined shortly by Pieter Seelaar. It'd be great to see him and hear from him in the commentary box. He'll be joining Andrew in an over or two's time. Great to get his thoughts as well about what he thinks about this tournament and the future for the Dutch, and his thoughts perhaps on his squad for the T20 qualifiers.
Yeah, I spoke to him before the game. He's very excited about the Dutch prospects. They have a few players to come back into that side as well. They've found another couple of new players this week. A little bit of touch there from Kevin O'Brien. So am I mixing these two up?
No, it's Kevin O'Brien.
It's Kevin, yeah. They're hard to distinguish who's who. A little bit of touch there, a wee late cut. Not the sort of shot you would associate with him, but very nicely played.
Well, he's certainly all-round cricketer, Kevin O'Brien, at Tests one day and now at T20 level, opening the batting at T20 level for Ireland. As Adair tries to push it down the ground. There's the man there at mid-off.
Yeah. Again, all Mark Adair needs to do for the first while is get a single. That's the worst that he should be doing, is get a single, let Kevin O'Brien on strike. He's on 54 of only 36 deliveries. So let the main man at the strike and then take it from there.
Last ball of the 14th over. Thank you to you, Garfield, for joining us in commentary. Well, not quite the last ball because that's a wide. And I was just building it up for our special guests. And lo and behold, we got a wide and one more to the Irish total.
Yeah. Kevin has the front leg well out of the way, so anything anywhere near his half, and I would say he's going to throw that 2 pound 12 ounce bat right at it.
Kevin O'Brien on 54. Adair on 2 at the other end, not facing. Here comes Neil. And it's just chipped into the leg side. There's a man down here. They're just going to walk through for a single. So that ends the 14th over. Thanks to Garfield for joining us. Ireland on 143 for 2. Andrew Leonard is back with us, and a special guest with him as well.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Garfield, and delighted to have a special guest to my left. We heard from the Dutch head coach yesterday, and now time to hear from the Dutch captain, Pieter Seelaar. Peter, you're very welcome to the commentary box. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. It's been a very good game to watch so far, and I can't wait what the next 6 over got in store for us.
Have you enjoyed the week? It's obviously come together at quite late notice, the Tri-Series, but the standard of cricket has been really, really good.
It's been fantastic, and as you said, I think every team has showed what they can do and what they can bring to international cricket.
Yeah, we're going to see Sol continue to O'Brien. O'Brien looking for the scoop, the sort of paddle sweep, which he doesn't employ too often. What's been the standout takeaways for you? I presume some of the power hitting, the high scores?
Yeah, definitely the power hitting and also the strong shots. I think when you tend to overhit the ball hasn't gone that far, and if people just look to hit through the line, they really, really nailed it, and the ball's been flying to all parts of the ground.
Yeah, it's been a batsman's week, a batsman's paradise here at Malahide Cricket Club. Mark Adair's been elevated up the order, and that's why he's been elevated up the order. He's come in at number 5 and he's dispatched that one to the shorter boundary, the leg side, for yet another boundary 4. It's a short delivery from Seoul. The Scottish spinners haven't quite hit their length the way they did yesterday against Yuletide.
No, well, yesterday I thought the wicket was a little bit more techie, where I think now it's a bit flatter. So I think that's the pace and the length Seoul is looking to bowl now, because it's obviously a little bit different than yesterday, and you see the balls just sitting up, and especially Kevin O'Brien's been nailing those short balls for 6.
Yeah, it's a shorter boundary on the far side of the ground today because we've moved a couple of pitches up for yesterday's match, and this, the final match, the decider of the GS Holding T20I series. Kevin O'Brien's going to push hard for 2. Adair's quick between the wickets. He is going to get back, so 2 more runs to the total. You had just the 1 win this week, but it was a really good win. How much did that mean to you to beat the home Irish side?
Well, to be fair, we obviously had that game against Scotland where we didn't quite know our bowling plans. But to be fair, it was very good to also have some positive stuff coming out of this week. As what we've been speaking about, I think our bowling hasn't been up to the standard we generally like to be. And one of the things we took away is that we really need to focus on our execution rather than what the batsman is doing. And I think that goes for all the teams, where if we look at how everyone sets up, the fields are set for the ball they're trying to deliver. And I think that's it's a crucial part in T20 cricket nowadays, especially on flat wickets like this.
15 overs gone. Ireland still going above 10 and over, 153 for 3. Bowling has traditionally been your strength over recent years, but this week it didn't seem to be. But there were some good notes with the bat, the form of Maxwell O'Dowd, who's did a really good 2019. Ben Cooper with that 90, and yourself, you're now a Dutch record holder, 96.
Yeah, who would have thought that? No, I think obviously with the flat wickets, it's a batsman's game. Small, well, relatively small ground. And as you said, some of the guys actually put in some real good performances, and also new Brendan Glover, who actually bowled with extreme heat yesterday, I thought was very impressive. And the way Paul van Meekeren got back into the side yesterday and bowled those 3 overs in the power play, well, actually two and a half of them were very good. And I think that's the way we now looking forward. And you know, you look at these type of series where you look to take the positives away, but also have to learn from the mistakes we've made. And obviously we've got about a month to go before we get to the real stuff.
Sharif back into the side. Adair's skied that straight down the throat of the man at long on, who takes a really good catch. He had the sun to deal with. You could see he stuck the one hand out, Callum MacLeod. He blocked out the sun, managed to cling on. A really good catch. Sharif finally gets some joy this week. Mark Adair's difficult week continues. He falls for 8 off 7 deliveries, and that could be a crucial wicket for Scotland in just trying to arrest the Irish momentum with 5 overs left, a little under 5 overs left. It's going to be Lorcan Tucker to the crease at number 6 for Ireland, the dynamic hitter of the ball. I've got the Dutch captain to my left, Pieter Seelaar, joining me, Andrew Leonard, on commentary. And Peter, I have to ask you about your own career. You made your ODI debut all the way back in 2006. That was 13 years ago. You were a fresh-eyed, blue-eyed boy. You batted at number 11. You've turned into a bit of a batting all-rounder, if you don't mind me saying there.
Well, the funny thing is that when I first played cricket, I pretty much rocked up with just spikes and couldn't care less about batting, really. Bowling was just what I love to do. I obviously still do, but there was a moment in 2007, I think I got hit in the head by Gerry Snyman of Namibia, which actually was literally a wake-up call for me to start batting. And obviously now with T20...
You got hit in the head when you were batting or when you were bowling?
No, when I was batting. So obviously I didn't have my own helmet. The helmet was too big. The grill got into my face and actually knocked me out. And obviously from that moment on, I got into batting. And as the modern day cricketer, especially spinners, need to be able to bat.
Sharif looking for the Yorker, just thuds into the pad of Kevin O'Brien. O'Brien disappointed to miss out on that. He was looking for yet another maximum. You've almost followed the path a little bit of George Dockrell, who started out as a left arm spinner, now batting quite high. But your head coach was telling me, Ryan Campbell, is that he values you that highly as a batsman. You bat all the way up at number 4 at some points in this side.
Yeah, it was one of the things we wanted to try out this week, and for me personally, it was great. It worked once. The other 2 innings weren't that particularly great. But yeah, as you said, the same for George Dockrell. I think every modern day spinner pretty much bats and definitely fielding. The modern day cricketer is 3-dimensional, and if you look around all these teams, pretty much every cricketer is 3-dimensional.
You've always been an outstanding fielder yourself. Tell us a bit about your career, some highlights, probably the 2011 Cricket World Cup, maybe the 2016 World 2020 as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, 2009, not to forget, beating England at Lords is right up there. And obviously the 2014 World Cup in Bangladesh was fantastic from a team's point of view. Obviously qualifying against Ireland in that game where we had to chase 190 in 13 overs or something, which was amazing to be part of. But now there's so much more to look forward to, and I hopefully we get to create more memories. And obviously we've got a chance next month to qualify for another World Cup, which will be going to be a very, very good tournament.
Yeah, the new Dutch captain Pieter Seelaar here to my left, telling us about his career in cricket so far. Tucker down the track finds the outside edge, only half a stop from Adrian Neil, who's at short third man. Tucker will get away with a boundary. A little bit of fortune for him. Adrian Neil burst through his hands, and with that being the shorter end of the ground, it was always going to be 4. Tucker was looking to cut it away, came off the outside edge. You took over from Peter Boren as the captain of the Dutch side. Did you feel like you had big boots to fill? He's a real legend of the associate game.
Yeah, very, very, very big. Peter's been tremendous for Dutch cricket for a long period of time. But I've got my style, and that's the way I want to go about things. And that it's a little bit different. But as you said, you just need to focus on what you need to do. But one thing I find very interesting today is that Scotland, their fielding standards hasn't been quite up to the mark they generally set. I've seen a couple of now, Adrian Neil, misfield, George Munsey on the boundary there. A couple of misfields, and that's, I think, the scoreboard pressure where it starts to tell. And
they've been outstanding this week as well, Peter. So 16 overs gone. Ireland still just above 10 and over. It's 161 for 4. So 4 overs remain in this Irish innings in what is essentially the grand final of the GS Holding T20I series between Ireland and Scotland. The Netherlands, they're already out of the reckoning for this tournament, but I've got the Dutch captain with me on commentary, Pieter Seelaar. Fascinating hearing his thoughts. And Scotland going to continue with spin, Peter. No real surprise. Hamza Tahir, one of the finds of the tournament.
Yeah, how good has he been? I think his start to international cricket has been phenomenal. And he just looks to keep it very simple. But yesterday he pretty much dominated us just by doing his little thing, and he's been tremendous.
Yeah, he's just doing the basics right, changing his pace nicely, darting through, bowling the occasional arm ball. Tucker looks for the scoop. Bit of spoonerism in the commentary box. That one does get over short fine leg, and that's going to be a boundary. 4 steps across his stumps. Really good execution from Lorcan Tucker.
Yeah, I think Lorcan is a 360 player. He is looking to square boundaries, but as soon as Hamza is going to fly it up, I think he'll also have the ability to look to go straight.
He's trying to add the power, but there could be a chance at long on. It hasn't come out of the middle for Tucker. And after scooping one for 4, he's going to fall caught at long on.
McLeod.
Callum McLeod takes yet another catch. And Tahir just continues his knack of taking wickets, Peter. What is it about these left arm spinners?
No, I don't know. I think this is very good bowling, just holding it back a slight touch. And I think, McLeod is never going to drop that. He's a very, very good fielder. But Hamza Tahir, as you said, just little slight changes of pace. And I think what we've seen here, every time you've been too one-dimensional, you get hit. And I think Hamza has been very good in his change of pace.
Hamza Tahir is playing just his 9th international of any format today. Played 3 ODIs and this is his 6th T20I. He's already taken 21 wickets, so an incredible start to his international career. The young man born in Paisley, just 23 years of age. He's been really impressive. Is it difficult coming in at this number 5, 6, 7 mark when your team has got off to a flyer? Do you almost feel like you need to keep going, keep scoring at 14, 16, 18 and over? Tucker guilty of trying to overhit there?
That's exactly what I think just happened, and we saw it with Ireland actually against us 2-3 days ago, where they came in and trying to hit the ball too hard. That's one of the mistakes. Oh, that's good running. Is that going to be 2?
No, just a single there. O'Brien clipping that into the leg side, the shorter boundary. Wallace's struggles with the gloves continue.
Yeah, Tom Saul there at mid-wicket, also one of the good fielders of the Scottish side. He was tremendous yesterday, and again today he's on the ball, so to speak.
I think what we've seen this week as well, Peter, is all the sides have had to play 2 games in 2 days, but they found it difficult the second day to back up. Is that because of the intensity of the modern T20 international?
I don't really know. Yeah, it's just consistency is what every team is looking for. Yeah, and no team has really nailed that yet. And obviously now going into the tournament coming up, the qualifiers, where you play back-to-back games, you play, I don't know, what is it, 7 games in the space of 2.5 weeks. Consistency is going to be key.
O'Brien looks to give himself room outside the leg stump. He's so good through that extra cover region, and it's the larger side of the ground, so there'll always be time to get back for 2. Shane Getgate's the new man at the crease. He's in at number 7, the big hard-hitting all-rounder. 17 overs gone, and I think for the first time in the innings, Peter, that run rate just dipping beneath 10 and over, but it's an indication of how good the batting has been this week. Can we chat a little bit about that T20 World Cup qualifier? There's 14 teams, 6 will qualify. Is your sole focus on qualification first, or are you looking to go out there and win the whole tournament?
No, I think you have to look to win the tournament. With the squad we've got, with a lot of experience, but also exciting young new players, we're looking to finish top of the group, because that will automatically get us to the semi-final, but also qualification. So that's what we're looking for, because I think every team that's going to go there is look to win every game of cricket you're going to play. So it's not a thing where you look to just qualify. I think you just have to go out and try and win the tournament, because then you can fall back. I think that's the way you have to look at it. And as you see, a lot of good teams are going to be there. And what I'm finding interesting is the way Ireland has sort of changed their T20 style, because
their approach is being revolutionised really with their power hitters.
Yeah, very much so, up all the way down to number 7.
Adrian Neal, the big 6'9" fast bowler, back into the attack. Getgate just works that into the leg side for a single. You've got a group against Scotland who you shared the title with 4 years ago at this very ground here in Malahide in torrential rain. I remember we had the presentation ceremony inside the marquee. You're not going to underestimate any of the sides you're coming up against. You've got a group with the Dutch, Papua New Guinea, Namibia, Singapore, Kenya and Bermuda.
No, well, you're never going to underestimate a team. I think that's criminal. Oh, that could be out.
Hit out to the leg side. There's a man there. That's Tom Sowell. And a really good catch. It's been a wonderful innings from Kevin O'Brien, but he throws his head to the heavens. He feels like he's given it away. It was hit powerfully, but it's to the larger side of the ground. It was a low full toss. He couldn't get it over the head of the man who's at a traditional cow corner. And that cow corner has turned into a wicket-taking position, Peter, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, this is obviously, like, Neil probably didn't quite execute what he wanted to do, but a low foot toss is still hard to hit. And as you see, Ireland is sort of losing momentum just because Scotland is taking wickets, and wicket is the only way you're going to stop the other team from scoring. And what I really like to see now, Simi Singh coming in at 8, where I remember we played Ireland last year, also in the Tri-Series, where Simi Singh came in at 4 or 5 and actually belted a brilliant 60, and now is batting at 8. I mean, it
shows the depth really of this Irish side. And Simi Singh coming in all the way down at number 8 for his first appearance of this GS Holding T20I series, brought into the squad because of Jacob Mulder's back injury. We don't know how bad that is, whether Mulder will be in consideration for the qualifier next month, but Simi Singh has just a little over 2.5 overs to try and seize his opportunity. We'll probably see him bowl his off breaks. He's actually bowling a few leg breaks these days as well, so we'll perhaps add that element of mystery spin that's been a bit lacking this week, perhaps, Peter.
Yeah. I think that's fair enough. Obviously, in our side, we had young Flip Boissevet who only get to play one game. There's a leggy in the Irish side, Garrett Delaney, the opening batter, and it's sometimes it's not all about mystery spin, but I think on flat wickets like this, bowlers haven't really been able to deceive the batsmen that much, and that's why, Hamza Tahir has been good because he's been pretty much the only one who's really been changing it up. Where pretty much from our side we've probably been a bit one-dimensional, where the batters can just keep hitting the same sort of pace.
Short ball, looks for the pull shot, get gate. Just his second innings this week and not finding the pace of this pitch yet. This momentum is just being stifled out of the Irish innings, Peter.
Yeah, and I think Getgate from this ball, he's looking to hit the ball, overhit the ball a little bit too hard. And Adrian Neal actually is now mixing it up nicely with a slower ball into the pitch mixed with some full deliveries, and he's running it again.
Wide. Short ball probably going to be signalled wide, and the umpires working in tandem as they have, and Rizwan will give that one a wide, just too short from Neil. He offers something different though, 6'9", coming down. Tell us about your fast bowling stocks. You'll have Tim van der Hoogten to come back in to the qualifier squad.
Well, we've got five out and out seamers, fast bowlers who look to hit the deck quite hard, who haven't been up to the standard we would like, especially that first game against Scotland. And as you said, Adrian Neal is pretty much a giant. How tall is he? Especially when he runs in, it's well, not frightening, but you've got him and Boyd Rinking, who's been obviously very good for Ireland, but that extra sort of bounce is obviously quite tricky when you just come in. But talking about our seamers, we've got a sort of variety with Fred being a left armer, Paul also a tall lad who's looking to hit the pitch, Brennan a little bit slippery and skiddy, and obviously Tim who can bowl pretty much any delivery a pacer can.
Down the track from Singh, he can't get it past mid-off, who's in the circle, so it'll just be a single to end the 18th over. Ireland struggling late in this innings after a flying start. 18 overs gone. It's 174 for 6. So 12 deliveries remain for Ireland, and interesting to see some gloves run out. I wonder, is there a message coming on with that from Stuart Thompson as well? For the second time this week, there's shades of the game that you played against Ireland, really, isn't there? I think they were around 130 after 12 overs. How did you drag them back to 180 from their 20?
Well, what happened in that game is that we managed to stop that momentum when we got the wicket where Brendan Glover came back and bowled an absolutely fantastic over of just Yorkers. Which allowed us sort of then to grab that momentum back after that and allowed us to bowl the spinners. And that's where they sort of struggled in that game particularly. And I think when our seamers came back towards death, they had a clear plan and executed a lot better than the game before. Because that's what we spoke about. We need to be clear in our plans, and I think we executed very well. And looking at Scotland now, they also seem to bowl a little bit better.
They fought back well here, Scotland. Tom Saul with his off breaks, and again, singles are not going to do the damage that Ireland need at this stage of the innings. We'll just take a quick look at the bowling figures, because rather remarkably, 7 bowlers used. Callum MacLeod getting carried away after his 3 tight overs against you yesterday, Peter. Back in for a few off breaks today. Michael Leask has struggled a bit this week, and just 1 over from Richie Barrington, perhaps falling into that category of captains who bowled himself too little.
Shot.
Hit powerfully down the ground, but there's protection there.
2.
Safian Sharif is going to run around it, and Simi Singh really quick between the wickets. They get back for 2, but again, no boundaries, no real damage done. You must be really looking forward to the qualifier next month.
Yeah, very much so. I think every team is going to be excited to go there and pretty much express themselves, because I think that's the name of the game. Everyone is going to go out there and look to play the best cricket they can. bowled.
Really well bowled, right into the block hole, not allowing any elevation underneath it. How amazing is it to have men of the experience of Ryan Tendashade and Roelof van der Merwe to come back into your squad, and for the first time Colin Ackerman as well?
Yeah, it's invaluable. Playing with Roelof obviously helps a lot, and Tendo now back in the fold is fantastic. You know, that's something we all learn from, and even also for the young guys who come on tour to feed, it's going to be out.
Singh looks to hit that one down the ground. There's a man at long on. I think it's Callum McLeod again.
He doesn't drop those.
He's taken at least 3 catches today, maybe 4. Singh got nearly to the pitch of it, but it was flat, and he just couldn't clear the man at long on. It was a really easy catch. Singh departs for 3 off 4. Not the innings that he would have wanted, but it is tough coming in at the back end of this innings.
Yeah, and I think Ireland is very guilty of trying to hit the ball too hard. So now it's really up to Getke to sort of see this innings off, because I think they probably have been looking too far ahead of the game, where I think they were looking at a score of 220 and now seem to fall short probably of 200, which pretty much has been a par score here this week.
Yeah, when we were sitting in the glorious sunshine in between, just before we came on air, we were saying, God, 220, 230, 240 might be on. But look at the momentum that Scotland have arrested. Kevin O'Brien, 63 off 45. Gareth Delaney, a flying start, 25 off 10. Balbirnie, 20 off 10. But after that, not a lot to shout about. But Getgate tries to clear the man at long off. He's not going to. Back-to-back wickets for Tom Sole. Really good bowling. He's been outstanding since coming into the Scottish side yesterday. Himself and Hamza Tahir, the 2 standout spinners. A comfortable catch for Safian Sharif. Real disappointment for Shane Getgate, because the batsman had crossed, so that was Getgate that will fall. And for the first time in his young Irish career, we're going to see David Delaney with the bat in hand. But what a finish this is from Scotland. This is like deja vu of the Irish innings against Netherlands, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and in 2020 cricket, especially, momentum is key, and I think Scotland is grabbing it and haven't let go. And they are going to be probably the happiest side now going into the break. Obviously, there's an over and a bit to go, but Scotland has done terrific work, and I think they've done exceptionally well by bowling spin from the one end, probably hitting a little bit against the wind, what we see now, because this ball didn't quite clear, and probably Ireland guilty of overhitting.
Hat-trick ball, no appeal, even though it thuds into the pad, clearly going down the leg side. Delaney was keen for the single. Dockrell wasn't. 19 overs gone. And Scotland are 178 for 8. Let's take a look at the points table for this GS Holding T20I Tri-Series. And I had to do this to you once while you're in the commentary box, Peter. You are bottom of the table. And unless Scotland can do you a huge favour and really hammer Ireland, I think that's where you're going to end up. But it's been a good week of cricket.
It's been very good. Now, the standard has been absolutely fantastic. Obviously, we yesterday were below par with the bet. But I think the demonstration of power hitting has been exceptional. And I think leading into the World Cup qualifiers, I think all the teams are looking to power hit. And, we are not going to be any different. But I think 200 pretty much is now the par score here. Might be different in Dubai.
4 years ago, the ICC World T20 qualifier hosted by Ireland and Scotland, it was a new height for associate cricket, because there was 20 games broadcast all around the world. There was thrilling finishes. We saw Oman qualifying for the first time, Namibian heartbreak, the Dutch and the Scottish side shining. Do you think it's going to be taken on to a new level in 2019? Is this where the world is going to wake up to the quality of associate cricket?
Well, you really hope so, because I think we have been crying out for more exposure. And what's been happening is that I think what this series shows is that the standard of cricket, of associate cricket, has gone through the roof. And it's been
moment there,
cricket.
Peter. Sorry to interrupt you, but a nice moment for David Delaney. His first runs in international cricket. The young Clontarf and Northern Knights player just clipped into the leg side for 2. Please go on.
No, is it, because our standards has been raising, the entertainment value has also been fantastic. So where I think associate cricket is going through the roof, if that comes with more exposure, people see what we can actually do.
Nicely played by Delaney. Very competent with the bat. And they're going to run quickly for 2.
Great running.
Really good
Great
fitness from George Dockrell. getting his youngster back onto strike.
Yeah, no, as you see, it's not. It is mostly about boundaries, but running between the wickets is also key. And I think this demonstrates towards the back end of the innings what you can do. Because sort of thing, Ireland doesn't want to be bowled out here, but they also need to make sure that they want to get to that 190 mark, I think.
Looks for the scoop shot, and he doesn't quite get it. He'll probably get a single. We'll wait to see the signal from the umpire, Rizwan Akram. It is giving us runs, so perhaps off the under edge of the bat, or maybe the glove. Nice little cameo from David Delaney. Certainly no mug down at number 10. So you can say everyone these days, almost right the way down the order, you can't afford any bunnies.
No, definitely not. And as you said about George Dockwell's coming in at 9, where I think in the series early on this year when they played in Afghanistan, he was pretty much batting at 6-7. So that shows the depth Irish cricket have got nowadays in T20 cricket. And I'm backing George to go straight.
Short ball pulled into the deep. Good from Sharif. Again, forcing the batsman to hit to the longer side of the ground. And I think they've done that really well in the latter stage of the innings. I'm not too sure where they opened the bowling with the off-spinner from the far end, and Kevin O'Brien dispatched him for 16. But do you feel Scotland are ahead of the game right now?
Well, they dragged it back. I don't think they're ahead of the game. Ahead of the game would be if they would bowl Ireland out to a below par score. I think Ireland still, I think the wicket has also slowed down a touch, possibly. But I think ahead of the game would be if they would restrict them to about 160.
Skews off the outside edge. Third man is in place. Delaney's running really hard, and Hamza Tahir has to go to ground, so he allows Delaney to get back for 2. And of course, remember, no Kyle Coates today for Scotland. That could be a big difference. But tell us about George Munsey. What was it like being on the other end of that innings of 127 not out?
Well, to be honest, it's obviously, as a player, it's not great when someone goes off like that. But on the other end, you also kind of admire what he's doing. And as a cricket lover, you kind of half enjoy what he was showing up that day. Well bowled.
Big appeal. And given it has come off the outside edge, and Craig Wallace ends a really difficult afternoon with the gloves for him. He's struggled. Catch he didn't go for, a couple of buys. This one skews off the outside edge, and that's an outstanding catch.
Yeah,
ends
fantastic.
the day really well, Craig Wallace. That innings from George Munsey, the 5th highest in T20 international history that you were on the other end of.
Yeah, there was a bit of mayhem going on, and one of those days where I think George didn't miss hit one. I think everything was out in the middle of the bat. Obviously, the bowling wasn't particularly great, but he punished everything that was half loose, and that made us look probably a little bit worse also than it was. But to be fair, George has been doing it for quite a while, and I think this year that's about his 2nd or 3rd T20 century. Maybe not internationally, but he's been striking the ball beautifully. And if there's one guy who can actually take the game away from you, it's George.
We're going to see George Munsey in action in about 10 to 15 minutes time, and you can see the Scottish side being led off by their standing captain Richie Berrington, although Matthew Cross is running ahead of him, so I think that's an indication that Matthew Cross is going to open the innings, obviously with George Munsey, and I suspect that Scotland are going to be the happier of the two sides. Ireland off to an absolute flyer, but they were reined back by some good tight Scottish bowling, particularly Hamza Tahir. Let's take a look at the batting card. It's a bit of a lopsided one because all of the way to runs coming at the top of the innings from Kevin O'Brien, who continues to shine in this new role as T20 international opener. Gareth Delaney, 25 off 10. Tell us about Andy Balbirnie, Peter.
Oh, he's how good has he been in the last 2 years? First, we thought Balbirnie would only score runs against the Dutch because he generally scores a lot of runs against us. But the last 2 years, I think he's been phenomenal in all 3 formats of the game. So that shows that he's actually taken over that role from Ed Joyce, I think, and betting at 3. He's their key bettor. And, well, today it was 20 of 10, but it was, again, quality cricket shots. I think that's the name of the game. It has been the name of the game this week.
Yeah, Gary Wilson, 31 off 25. The only other innings of note, really, in the Irish batting display, but that collapse, it has to be described as a collapse from 138 for 2 all the way to 186 for 9 means Scotland are going to take the momentum in. 4 bowlers taking 2 wickets each. The pick of those, surely the 2 spinners though, Hamza Tahir and Tom Sole, Peter.
Yeah, they've both fantastic. I think Tom Sole was outstanding because he was just firing him in pretty much, and Hamza Tahir was just bowling beautifully and mixing up his pace, which I mean there's still a bit of guile and flight can be used in T20 cricket.
So that's the match summary and the thoughts of Pieter Seelaar. We might chat to you in the second innings, Peter, if you're good enough to come back and join us. Ireland making 186 for 9 from their 20 overs. It means that Scotland will need 187 runs to take the GS Holding T20I Tri-Series title. We'll find out if they can in about 10 to 15 minutes time.
This is Joan. She works in HR and has the same routine every single day, searching through CVs, answering calls, and searching online for the dream contractor. And after all that, she still has 10 jobs to fill. Well, there's a great solution, Tech Finder. It allows Joan to connect directly with IT contractors for her location, viewing their daily rates and CVs, enabling calls, and signing contracts. And it has saved a fortune. Simply sign up, choose your subscription plan, and you have access to over 50,000 candidates immediately. Join TechFinder today and connect with thousands of technology contractors. Worried about your next contract opportunity? Tired of wasting time online searching for the right one? Well, let the opportunities find you. Use TechFinder. It's a free service that connects you directly with companies that match your skills and helps you plan ahead for upcoming contract opportunities. It's easy to use. Simply upload your CV, create your profile, and select when you're available. Take the pain out of searching and be found by thousands of companies globally in your location and at your daily rates in real time. Join TechFinder today. Get connected and be found. Available on all app stores and at techfinder.com.
The choices we make define who we are. Like the decision many of us have made to switch to Toyota Hybrid, to a smooth, more economical drive. Working towards a cleaner, brighter future for ourselves and for our children. Because the world we want to live in should be made better by the car we choose to drive. Toyota, built for a better world.
Think this is fun for me? You think I'm having fun?
It certainly wasn't much fun defending your action in Tokyo. Do you have eyes on the target?
Is it her?
I can't tell from these photos. I need better shots.
Yeah, no, well...
Just don't lose at its time.
Thank you for flying Turkish Airlines.
You're waiting for someone?
No, just looking.
Yeah, we had a few standout moments. Obviously, to beat Leinster whenever they were going so well at Pembroke. We only had one T20 festival, but to beat them whenever they were going so well was brilliant. I thought the way Mark Adair played with both the bat and ball was excellent. Jacob Mulder and James Cameron Dow were both fantastic with the ball as well, and really brought us back into that game. So all in all, very pleased. I think it's just a product of a lot of hard work, both from the guys and the work that Simon Johnson's put in over the years. He really is the unsung hero of our squad. He works so many hours, and I think that's one of the big reasons. It's a great pathway into the national team. I wouldn't say it's the only pathway now. Club cricket is still important as well. But I suppose if you perform well in club cricket, you'll get picked for your provincial side, and then hopefully if you perform well there, you'll pick for the national side as well. And we've seen that. But I've been very impressed with the standard and actually the way the whole competition has been run. Pleasantly surprised, really. It's just if we could get someone to turn the tap off in the weather for next year, that would be great.
Yeah, I think this competition can be quite challenging. It's often very hard to get a win, and within the 3 days, all the time you are fighting for bonus points. And I think to do that, you need to be very consistent across every innings of all the games. And I think we managed to do that this year. And then you come close to a couple of wins, but I think it's when you have those winning draws a lot of the time that can be the difference. I think we had a great day against the Knights when Simi Singh got 100 and a fifer within the 1 day. I think that was a pretty incredible effort from him, and for me that was probably our greatest day of cricket. Putting some runs on the board and then challenging them. And threatening for a win on that day. Obviously, it was a pity that we couldn't win that game, but for me, that was pretty impressive to put together that full day's cricket. I think the reward you get from playing 3 days cricket and winning a 3-day game is a lot more than in the white ball, and I think you really have to earn that win and work hard for it. So I think that's probably the most pleasing thing when you finally do win a game. For ourselves, having Barry back has been fantastic. He probably led the attack this year for us and added a new dimension to what we already had. It was a very experienced attack, so it's been fantastic having him back. Again, a little bit more knowledge that he passes on to all the other guys, and he's a huge amount of energy as well in the changing room, so we're very lucky to have him. Yeah, Nigel Jones, he's brought a lot of energy to the squad. He's got a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge within cricket, and he's incredibly passionate as well about what he does. So I think that really rubs off on all the guys and all the team, and really enjoyed having him on board this year, and really looking forward to what he's going to do with the Lightning in the future.
Gary Wilson, and the Scottish opening batsman wearing shirt number 93 is George Munsey, and wearing shirt number 9 is...
Welcome back to the beautiful Malahide Cricket Club in North County Dublin. We're in Fingal in absolutely glorious sunshine. We've been blessed this week for the GS Holding T20 I Try series. The first match was abandoned, but since then we've had resplendent sunshine for all 5 days, and it's the winner takes all, the final innings of the week, and it's Ireland against Scotland. And after a flying start from Kevin O'Brien, Gareth Delaney and Andrew Balbirnie, the Irish innings really tailed away to finish with 186 for 9 from their 20 overs. I've got Garfield Harrison joining me, Andrew Leonard to my left. Garfield, a little bit of a disappointing finish to that innings from an Irish perspective.
Yes, Andrew, very similar to Wednesday, to the way things sort of petered out in the Irish innings, and it's not what you would expect after such a good start. Really, they should be pushing on. The score should have been comfortably 200, maybe 210. So Ireland have a game on their hands. Scotland very much in this game.
Yeah, it's going to be Mark Adair with the new ball to George Munsey. Thuds into the pad. I suspect we'll see a leg bye signalled by the umpire. Rizwan Akram. It is indeed a leg bye. After 12 overs, it's almost a carbon copy of that Dutch game that you were talking about on Wednesday, because Ireland were 131 after 12 overs, and from their last 8 overs they've added just 54 runs.
Yeah, that's, the Ireland dressing room will be very disappointed with that, and I think, Andrew, some of it was for me just a little naive. They're trying to hit sixes up the hill into the wind, and that was not the end to do that.
It's a new opening partnership for Scotland, because Matthew Cross has come in for Kyle Coates. We still haven't had any runs off the bat, would you believe, because that's going to be 4 more leg byes. There was a bit of an appeal from Mark Adair, but it thudded off, I think it was the thigh pad really, as opposed to the pad, and it went in between Gary Wilson and Andy Balbirnie, who's at a sort of second and a half slip. Garfield, 4 runs to the total.
Yeah, again, Ireland with the total that they have on the board, they can't really afford extras like that, and every run is now precious, so need to tighten up.
So Matthew Cross, the Scottish wicketkeeper batsman who didn't wicketkeep today. The gloves are taken by Craig Wallace, who redeemed himself with a tricky afternoon by taking a spectacular grab to end the innings. Matthew Cross is opening up with George Munsey. Munsey's been one of the stars of the show this week, really, isn't he?
Munsey has been magnificent today, and I mean, Scotland will be hoping for a great start here, and this game could be won by Scotland in the first power play in the first 6 overs if Munsey he gets going here today.
No ball called by the standing umpire Rizwan Akram. Mark Adair has had a few troubles this week. I know he didn't bowl last week at the inter-squad games an awful lot. A few niggles. He's played a lot of cricket this summer, hasn't he?
He has played a lot of cricket, and it's been a great summer for Mark Adair, but he'll be disappointed with the way this week has gone. He's struggled nearly all week, and look at the extras already.
It's going to be a free hit with George Munsey on strike. Looks for the block hole, hammered down the ground, but straight to Gareth Delaney, who's at mid-on, so no harm done. How often do we see that off the free hit these days?
Well, it's a good piece of bowling by Mark Adair because he's pitched it right up there, almost Yorker length, and has made it difficult then for George Munsey to get in underneath that. So he's got away with one there, so hopefully things will tighten up and Ireland will sort of try and get some control here.
Hammered down the ground. They're going to be the first runs off the bat of the day, and it's going to smash into the tech finder board straight as a die. What a shot from George Munsey. He's only missed his length by a matter of inches there in the slot. 6 runs all the way.
That's a great shot by George Munsey, but again, you said it, Andrew, it's in the slot from Mark Adair. You don't want to be bowling there to George Munsey because you just disappear. And yet again, a 6, but a 6 down the ground towards the Dublin road end. That's where he'll be targeting.
Powered into the offside. What a catch from Lorcan Tucker. That was hit incredibly hard. It was straight to him. I thought it might have bursted through his hands at first, but he clings on. Mark Adair's streak of being the golden arm for Ireland continues. What a wicket for Ireland.
A big wide one from Mark Adair. George Munsey throws the sink at it and hits it straight to Lorcan Tucker, which is a great catch. And boy, that was hit really hard, but it made it look very easy, that catch. So great start for Ireland, getting rid of the big hitting George Munsey.
Yeah, it was a case of 6 and out for Munsey. The ball before he dispatched Adair all the way down the ground, but Adair's happy knack continuing to take wickets for Ireland carries on. A very interesting over. 6 leg boys off the first 3, then the no ball, a dot ball off the free hit, followed up by a glorious straight 6. But that's going to be the last we'll see of George Munsey in this tournament. And as Scotland have tried to do, they're elevating Leask up the order again, trying to continue the big hitting with this big total needed.
Yeah, it wasn't a great first over from Mark Adair, and in fact the ball that got the wicket wasn't a great delivery either. It was there for hitting. Luckily for him and luckily for Ireland, he's hit that straight to the fielder and made a difficult catch there look very comfortable.
We're going to see spin to open from the far end, which is the Malahide Castle end, in the shape of Gareth Delaney, who's been so impressive with his batting this week, but not so much with his bowling. Struggled a little bit, particularly in the most recent match, bowling quicker and flatter leg breaks these days, but very young in his international career. He's a name to watch for the future. He'll be bowling to Matthew Cross. Cross looks for the sweep immediately. Just half a stifled appeal from Delaney.
Yeah, and you see his field here. There's nobody out on the sweep. Sorry, there was nobody out on the sweep. They've now seen one delivery, and they put the man out for the sweep shot and brought the long on in, which is probably the proper field, especially with a shorter boundary over at that side.
Cut away beautifully, and a
great
fantastic diving stop from Mark Adair. He flung himself all the way to his right, got one hand on it, definitely saved 2 runs.
2 runs there in the bank for Mark Adair. Great effort there. Full length, and you don't, these days you see that from the big fast bowler. He still throws himself about. Back in the day, they would politely stood aside and let that go to the boundary.
Down the leg side, and we're going to wait for the umpire's signal. It will either be signalled wide or possibly leg boys, just a little bit maybe off the hip of Cross, but it's really dangerous for Delaney. It's a short boundary on the leg side, 2 right-handed hitters. He's got to have that protection out there, pressure on the young man.
Very difficult end to bowl from with that short boundary, but as long as he doesn't pitch it short, he might be okay. Okay, there might be the slug sweep come out or the sweep shot, but the worst thing he could do is drop it short, and hopefully Gareth Delaney will have learnt not to do that.
That's a better length. That's really good from Delaney. You're spot on. It's exactly what he was in a spell just a couple of days ago. A little bit too short, and the batsmen were picking up on that length quickly and dispatching him over the rope.
Yeah, there's just no margin for error here now at this level.
Pulled into the deep, and that's exactly what we were talking about. The pace Delaney's bowling at, he can't afford to drag it down, and that one is meat and drink.
It's so much easier for the batter to hit that short ball. I mean, any batter could have hit that. You don't have to be an international standard. If he's going to err in length, he should be erring on the full side, not on the short side. And hopefully, he'll get that message.
Short again, cut away this time. Going to be plenty of time to get through for a single for Michael Leask. That ends the second over. Only 7 runs off the bat. Scotland are 21 for 1.
So decent start here from Scotland, although they'll be disappointed with the loss of George Munsey, their number 1 power hitter. He's back on the hutch, but still, 10 and over, that's on target. But Scotland, at the end of this power play, which is 6 overs, Scotland need to be sitting in around sort of the 70 mark, because I don't think that the Irish score that they posted was, is just about par, maybe even slightly below par today. So, the bowling and fielding from Ireland will need to be at its very, very best.
Keep an eye on those graphics at the bottom of your screen as well. They'll give you the required run rate. So at the moment, Scotland need around 9 and over. They won't want to let that get out of control. You can see a change in the field with the 2 men allowed outside the circle at this stage of the innings during the power play, both in the deep on the leg side. It's a really big boundary on this side of the ground.
Absolutely, and I mean, the Irish side will be very happy with that. Just a single's fine. Very happy. If it was just 6 singles in the over, they'd be more than delighted. So protecting this bigger boundary would be a wee bit easier, but it's all about what length Markadar bowls. He doesn't want to bowl too full.
That's an inside edge, and fortune for Cross. He was looking to hammer that expansively down the ground, probably over mid-off. Gets the inside edge. Fine legs in the circle. End result is 4 runs.
Well, again, very fortunate for the batter here. Balls on middle stump, decent length, and he's got the inside edge. Could have played it onto the stumps, but when it's your day, and it's beating the keeper and gone for 4.
Matthew Cross opening because of the absence of Kyle Coates today, who's out of the match with a finger injury. Short ball and pulled away, and that's too short for Markadar. Too easy for Cross. He loves it on the pull. He's a short man, short in stature. Most players of his height, they're very good at playing the short ball. Good example of it here.
Yeah, it's poor delivery from Markadar. Having said that, it's a very good shot, and by young Cross. And it's interesting, Andrew, when you watch him there, his setup, he's exposing all 3 stumps. He's batting well outside leg stump, which tells me that he's wanting to hit this ball on the offside. So Markadar should need to follow him a wee bit and sort of focus in on leg stump.
Hammered into the leg side. There is the protection in the deep. That's George Dockrell, so it'll just be a single. I think what was really impressive about that hook shot was the way that he got it behind square. He knew the 2 men were out. He knew that if he could get it to the right of George Dockrell, he'd get the boundary, and the pressure's on Adair. 10 off 4 deliveries from this over.
Yeah, right. Pressure right on, Mark, and it's the run rate's already down to sort of 9 and over now, which is really something that Ireland will be a bit concerned about.
Short ball again, pulled into the deep. More work for George Dockrell. It was a controlled pull shot this time from Leask. quality of the power hitting this week, Garfield, has been outstanding, isn't it?
It's just taken my breath away, really, the power that these guys have now. And but again, I go back to it, a lot of credit has to go to the Malahide ground staff. They've prepared fantastic pitches. The outfields are absolutely lightning. The sun's shining. It's a batter's game at the minute.
For this time, and for the second time in the over, real misfortune for Mark Adair. The second Chinese cut, I think the first one missed the leg stump. I think this one might have missed the off stump. But the end result is 4 more runs to the total.
Ball's outside, comfortably 2 stumps outside off stump. And he's got an inside edge under that. Again, on another day, that crashes into middle stump. But today, it's Matthew Cross's day so far, and it's another 4 runs and a very good start for Scotland.
You get the sense that Mark Adair wasn't best pleased by that result there.
No, I don't think they'll be buying any drinks to young Cross after the game after that. But, again, Mark has been struggling. I find what I've seen this week, he's been struggling for rhythm. He's not really running and attacking the crease the way we've seen him earlier on in the summer. And bit of a concern for him, and I would suggest that the captain now maybe have a wee look at another option.
And a really interesting change of bowling here, because for the first time this week, David Delaney's going to come into the attack during the power play. We've seen him only bowl in the middle and latter overs of the match, so a departure. Perhaps his captain Gary Wilson feels like he needs that extra pace, or also wants to give Delaney some experience with bowling in the power play. Just 2 fielders allowed out. They're a third man and a deep backward square leg. I think for the first time today, despite the big appeal, I just wonder, do they feel that...
Yeah, they think that he's hit that straight into his front leg, into his foot. But it looked very much like a bum ball here from our
Yeah, I think it has deflected off the leg at one point, but it's gone into the ground, up off the pad. And Delaney was quite excited, but nice to see him perhaps just adjusting to international cricket. He said he's found it a little bit overawing. He's found the intensity and the energy that's been expanded, particularly in the fielding, quite a lot. I was getting my train out this morning and I noticed a guy in Irish kit walking onto the dart. I said, David, come down and have a chat. It's a lovely dart ride out this morning. But he's a young bowler with huge talent. And that talent's found him a wicket. What a change of bowling from Gary Wilson, a really good one. Andy Balbirnie, he's hurt his hand with the power that was hit. It was length, but Lees could only hit it to mid-on, where Andy Balbirnie takes the catch. A brilliant wicket for David Delaney.
Excellent wicket for David Delaney. He'll be absolutely delighted. But boy, was that hit hard again, But unfortunately, for Lisk, straight to the fielder. Great catch by Andrew Balbirnie, and Ireland very much now back in the game, having really lost the first 3 overs of the contest. They're now back in the game.
That's the second outstanding catch. The one from Lorcan Tucker was a full-blooded smash into the covers. That one hit equally powerfully by Leask, but straight to Balbirnie, who could just about cling on. He ended up doing a tumble, a somersault on the ground, a backward somersault. But Delaney, to me, looks like he's bowling with the kind of pace we know he can. He didn't do it in his first 2 appearances, but he's revving it up towards that 90-mile-an-hour mark today, it feels like.
I think he must have bought the captain a few drinks maybe last night to make sure that he was bowling downhill, downwind, David Delaney, because that certainly for the quicker bowlers is the end to bowl from, but certainly showing a really good pace. And yes, Andrew, I like the way earlier on in the week they eased David Delaney into the game by giving him the protection of 4